Okay, so during this session, we're going to discuss the impact or how we can benefit from AI into management consulting. And I'm going to share with you some insights with some disclaimers. The first disclaimer is I'm not the expert in AI, but I'm going to tell you how I'm going to deal with that. Technically speaking, I'm not also the expert in Zoom or Google, but I still use that. I'm not the expert in WhatsApp, but I still use it. I'm not the expert in presentations, but we're using it. So we don't need to be the experts in something to be able to use it and benefit from it. So, and we're going to see at the end that many things that happened before, we were pretty much resisting to those technologies, and today we are using them. I still remember very well a couple of years ago when Facebook was introduced, and most of my work was in strategies and in sales development. And then clients were telling me that everybody is going on social media on Facebook, and we can get a lot of clients through Facebook. Why do we need to develop the sales department? And I frustrated. And after a while, I understood that we still need social media, we still need Facebook, but that doesn't technically replace what we do. So we just need to know how to benefit from that and use it to our advantage. Now, before moving into more details, I would like also to share with you one of my dreams, which is technically to make consulting one of the things or one of the expertise that is enforced by law. Let me explain. In almost all the countries, you need a lawyer by default, and you need an auditor by default in most of the countries. However, unfortunately, still consulting is a luxury. So maybe this could be one of our opportunities to start raising more awareness about consulting, and hopefully we can get there. Because the second dream I have is that just like at the end of every year, most of the countries, most of the companies have to submit their taxation and their report. Why don't they have a business plan at the beginning of the year? Why doesn't it be mandatory? Why? Because we all know that if most of the companies, especially small to medium enterprises, start with a strategy, start with a business plan, technically speaking, they do better performance. Do you agree? So let's see how we can integrate that. So definitely, the whole world is moving, and AI is new. Just like many other technologies were new, but then sooner or later, we will adapt. The question is how fast we will adapt and how good we will be at that. We will discuss 4 pillars that we usually use in our profession. The business assessments, so how we can integrate artificial intelligence to business assessment, and what could we do with that. How to connect to accounting and reading the financial statements and getting alerts from that. How to link the business plan to KPIs and spot gaps in the process. And also how we can generate content and tasks through AI to tasks that we do not need to waste time on. These are our main problems. If you have them, please raise your hand. We have a lot of data overload. We waste our time producing reports, creating presentations, doing some tasks over and over again, discussing with the client, doing endless meetings, minutes of the meetings. You do that, right? So technically, this slows the decision making. Technically, this puts us under the pressure of having repetitive, bulky tasks all the time. And another problem that we have is we start thinking of recruiting the right assistant. And when you think of the right assistant, we have 2 problems. Either we don't find the qualified assistants, or we want to duplicate our expertise to that assistant, which makes us fall into another problem. Either they don't, because we're not clonable, or technically speaking, we teach them and they leave. And they become our direct or indirect competitors. So all of that will result into less scalable business, and at the same time, slow client engagement, and we feel that we are turning in the same cycle over and over again. So I would like you, if you can scan this QR code, just to start using some technology, and fill that survey quickly, if you can, please. It's only 5 to 6 questions. If we have time, I'm going to share the results with you today. If not, I promise you to send them to you. So we will see. I cannot project the questions, but at least. So I'm going to see the results from here. So I wish you can just submit your answers now. So the first question is, how much admin tasks constitute of your time? Is it less than 20, average 25, 50, or more than 50? How fast the decision-making is based on your practice? Very slow, normal, or fast? Do you believe more availability of data is helpful for faster decision-making? Yes, no, or not sure. Do you have a lot of repetitive, boring tasks? Yes, no, sometimes. How hard is it for you to find the right productive assistant? Easy, hard, very hard. How often is client engagement aligned with the initial plan of action? And how familiar are you with the following, whether social media, email, video, ERP, or artificial intelligence? And last but not least, how ready are you to embark into a new journey of AI? Okay, fortunately, we already have answers. So I'm going to share with you some answers. I'm going to wait 1 more minute until you finish. I already know that 17 of you have already responded. Waiting for the others. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to continue the presentation. So the main solutions we're going to cover, are how can AI analytics increase our efficiency by X number of times, whether hundreds or thousands, I don't know. How can AI algorithms can forecast trends, identify patterns, do insights, and create some better strategic decision making, keeping in mind that the main thing, you all know Stephen Covey, right? The main thing is to keep the main thing, the main thing. And the main thing in our job, who can tell me what is the main thing in our job? Problem solving. Do you agree? We are hired to solve problems. And most of the times, no matter which technique we use, we are digging deep to understand what the root cause of the problem is. And I can tell you that with AI, it helps us a lot to get to the problems, because I refuse, as a consultant, to give my opinion. Who am I to give an opinion on something where I don't know what the real information is? So the more I can have access to data, the better for me will be to give a solution, not an opinion. So how can I benefit from AI virtual assistants, and how can I personalize some experiences? I'm going to try as much as I can to cover part of those and as much as I know. So in the first part, we're going to discuss how to link the assessments with AI. So rule number 1, when we start with any company, with any organization, and I focus a lot on the small to medium enterprises, because I believe part of our mission and our role should be addressed more and more to the SMEs and to the family businesses, because the big ones are already big. So we need to focus on where the market needs us. And most of these people, they are too focused on the operation that they don't know their real assessment. They don't know their real SWOT analysis, their real team productivity, competition, market trends, financial workflow. I know many people who run a very good business, but technically speaking, they don't know numbers. They hate numbers. I was attracted by the question of knowing the difference between revenue and cost. Yes, I see people who make a lot of money, and they tell me, I don't know. I know that at the end of the year, I have this amount. Okay, how did you get there? You know, they don't know. So this is a problem, and the problem is that we have to go usually into qualitative data to be able to come up with a SWOT analysis which nobody reads, or to analyze competition, and most of the players tend or pretend not to have any competitors. Have you ever heard that? You ask your client, who are your competitors? And they tell you, none. Okay. So whether direct or indirect, how am I spotting my competition? How am I spotting my team productivity, etc.? So the more I can integrate a certain system, and here another disclaimer, at this level, I really don't care which system is doing what. Because if we need video conferencing, we can use unlimited tools, right? I don't care if it's Zoom or Teams or Google Meet or whichever tool, as long as I do that video conference. So same applies for those tools. Whichever tool that can give me a better SWOT analysis that is more tangible, that is more accurate, and can give me more trends from that, the better my role will be to find a solution instead of keep looking at the problem in a subjective way. So for example, I don't care how that graph was produced, but if I look here at a certain report, I can automatically know that this team has initially a problem of solving their routine problems on their own, of self-control, of personal initiative and creativity, and they are doing well when it comes to attendance, relationships, and etc. So I don't need to spend my time figuring things out. So I just look at the graph and I start finding solutions for that problem, so that I hope that the next cycle I do the same assessment, I get a better result. And that's what the client cares about. Do you agree? So from the same context, doesn't matter how I get to that report, whether I use Excel or I do it on the board or I get a report from the AI, as long as I spot where the red dots are. So this is where I have a problem. So candidate number 3 has a problem with quantity of work. Is it his computer or his energy? That's where I need to think and investigate. Whereas candidate number 5 has a problem with client servicing. So even if he's the best technical guy, he should solve that client servicing part, and so on and so forth. So this is where I can ask the system to give me a color about something to spot the problem. Just like when you are driving your car, I bet that most of us don't know how things are connected on our dashboard in the car. All we need to know is that the temperature is good or high. The fuel level is low or good. And from that context, I can just refill the fuel or put some water and so on. So we don't need to focus on the technical part. We don't need to be the mechanical. We need to be the problem solver. So same applies to any kind of report, and this is where I spot that most of the team has a problem with their salaries. So are they paid low, or they are not well benchmarking with the competition, and so on and so forth, and I can start just figuring out if things are going up or going down and spot a trend where I should put my energy to fix the issues. The second part, I can link the AI to accounting and financial statements so that it will give me the trend in the sales, in the revenues. Sometimes, I've been into an experience at one point where for a restaurant, for the last 3 years, the last 36 months, the sales graph was almost like this. Is it normal? So from one graph, you spot that they are not invoicing everything. You know? And you start detecting where the problem is. So same applies for the expenses or for the cost of goods sold. Why was the cost of goods sold jumping up at one point in time? Did we change a supplier? Did we do something, or is it inflation? What happened? Why is it jumping? So when you spot those, you automatically detect where the problem is, and you start figuring out what the solutions are. Otherwise, you're gonna fall in the trap of digging 6 months up to 1 year to discover what the problem is, and most of the times, it will be too late. So again, we spot the gaps, we spot the trends. Sometimes you see that they go to the auditor usually, because people don't consult usually with consultants. They like to consult with the auditor. Not wrong, but it's just focus on one area of expertise. And they tell them to reduce cost. So they reduce the cost of traveling, for example, and they end up with less sales. And they don't know why. Whereas, for example, that business is totally linked between traveling, doing the customer service, and so on. So it's not only about reducing the cost. So sometimes when you reduce something, you have to see what else is moving it along. So again, in that way, we will be trending, for example, knowing, for example, what's coming next based on the data, what do I need to reorder based on the coming season or the coming trend. So all that will be disregarding the graph, but it will be graphical and it will be easy. Just like when you open any medical report, if you do your blood test, I've never understood medicine. I don't know if you are doctors. Probably we're not. But we still, whenever we read the report of the blood test and we look at the indicators, if I know that this ratio must be between 2 and 4, and it's above 4 or below 2, then there is something wrong. That's all I care about at this level. Then I go and I ask the right expert to see how to solve it. So any number, any ratio could be technically automated, and it just gives me an indicator, a graph, just to spot where the problem is and where do I need to put my focus. Pillar 3 is linking the business plan to KPIs to be able to see what was done from that strategy. The most irritating part for me is to see a business plan that is in a drawer or in the mailbox, and they never open it. I always give the same analogy. Imagine you want to make your dream house. You go to the architect. He gives you all the plans, all of the architecture. You agree on the design. And then when you go to implementation, you put the design on the side and you start improvising what to do. This is what happens with most of the small to medium enterprises. So instead, I would like to link that strategy. I would like to link that business plan to something that gives me indicators if they are doing the right job or not. And not only with the output, I focus on that, it's in the input. I will explain. Most of the companies put, especially now, the sales target for the next year, right? Everybody wants to achieve extra 20%, extra 30%, extra market share. Okay, how many people or how many companies link that to the number of meetings to be done in the company to get there? And if they do, how many people count them? So it's not by coincidence that companies do not hit their goals. It's because nobody's tracking the plan. So if I connect that plan to the ERP, Enterprise Resource Planner, and the dashboard will give me all the activities, and my job will be to focus on what is not being done properly. So most of the people will tell me, but Jade, you know, the market is not good. We open the CRM, we check the numbers, and bottom line, it's not that the market is not good. It's not that they don't know how to sell. It's they didn't do the meetings. And when we ask why, it's because they don't have prospects. So we just teach them, for example, how to generate referrals, and the next week, we go back on track again. So instead of wasting time on firing people, recruiting people, doing a high employee turnover in sales, just fix the right problem. So all KPIs from the business plan could be connected on one dashboard. If they don't want to use technology, put them on Excel. If they want to use technology, put them on an ERP. Put them on anywhere you want. Just get the numbers connected to see what is the difference from sales down to the number of alliances, in between the cost of goods sold, the profit, the net profit margin, anything you want. And again, we focus on the input. How many posts I'm doing on social media? How many meetings I'm doing? How many people I'm interviewing to recruit, and so on and so forth. And to see if there is any connection from one number to another, from 1 month to another, and to spot any potential trend or any potential problem. Last but not least, so we can generate content. So if I need to recruit people, this is where I can help AI to create the job offer instead of wasting a lot of time. I can ask the artificial intelligence to help with the assessment, to create an email template, to follow up on the collection, to send a second email, a third email for the collection, to draft at least the template for the email, to make some follow-up emails for the pending tasks, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that could be done using AI where AI will not be replacing us. We will be using AI for better performance. A case study was done by Steve Nouri, who is the founder of the generated AI. And technically, he spotted that on average, people who use ChatGPT significantly, they increased their speed by 25.1%, and they improved their output quality by 40%, and 12.2% more tasks were completed. It's interesting, and I believe these numbers could be much more enhanced because till now, many people don't know what AI is. We still don't know, but at least we're starting to use it. So, and if you look at the graph, okay, so it will show technically how AI was helping in generating the better results. So other benefits of connecting AI to ERP. ERP for me is really like in sales, that is CRM, like in, so every business must have an ERP, an enterprise resource planner, disregarding what ERP it is. So it will help in the data prediction based on the historical data, on the previous trends, and on the correlation between departments. So this is very important. It will have analytics based on data from shopping to ordering to sales to purchase. So you will start seeing that things are connected. So they are not different departments. They are one company. It's like the car. Think of it like the car. So I cannot say that the wheels have nothing to do with the steering wheel, have nothing to do with the brakes or etc. So it's all together interconnected to give you one journey. The forecasting will be better, looking at the seasonality, the resource availability, the delivery time, the timeline of projects, and so on. And one of the things, like for example, we always count is how many times is the project delayed? And this creates an alert that there is something. And of course, the efficiency. So this is a template of an ERP. This is my own ERP. So this is where you can see that everything is connected together. And what I would like AI to do is technically to read from those reports, read from the dashboard to give me everything I need. So think of it this way. How many times the client cancels an appointment, so it sends an alert or give less priority. So for example, if they are canceling a lot, I wouldn't classify this client as class A. I would put him as class B or class C, even though they might be paying a bigger number. I can spot, for example, I can create a to-do list based on the deadlines automatically. So imagine when you have a list of deadlines and you have a list of tasks, and then the to-do list will be created automatically, and it will start showing me on top the top deadlines or the top priorities. I can make automatic translation of content and emails based on the client language or country. Okay? I can do automatic recommendation of products for the database based on their profile. So depending on where they come from, what is their industry, their role, their marital status, etc., I can have recommendations based on that. I can do automatic rating of clients based on the payment terms and the volume of work. I can do classification and tagging of documents to find them easily. I can do automated emails for people who visit a certain page. So if they search on certain pages or certain keywords, I send them that specific email instead of sending the standard email every single time. Okay? Invitation to events based on the client's behavior and journey, recommended solutions based on the survey, etc., etc. So technically speaking, the list is endless, but these are just examples of how we can be using AI to have a better experience with the clients, and at the same time, help our clients do a better experience with their clients. So think of life before Excel, Word, or other Microsoft products, before the mobiles and smartphones, before the email newsletter, the Google Maps, Facebook, Canva, YouTube, etc. At every single one of them, we were resisting. Do you agree? And now we are using them, all of them. So the question is how fast we will adapt. It's not if we will adapt or not. So technically speaking, now ERPs are in significant progress, and artificial intelligence connected to the ERP will give us the ultimate and unlimited power. So the question is, will we be losing jobs? What do you think? Will we lose our jobs? Of course not. It depends on how fast we digest and utilize technology. And the question is, how ready are we to do the change, or are we going to resist that change? Thank you for your time. I'm going to share with you quickly the answers that you've submitted. So based on the responses we have, how much admin tasks constitute of your time? The highest number was average 25%, that was 51%. 27.3, they said less than 20, and 18.2, they said average 50. Decision making, how fast it is. Normal is 48%, that's great. Fast is 30%, and slow is 18. Do you believe more availability of data is helpful for faster decision making? 75.8%, they said yes. 18.2, they said not sure. Do you have a lot of repetitive, boring tasks? 42.4%, they said yes. 36.4, they said sometimes. And how hard is it for you to find the right productive assistant? 72.7, they said it's hard. How often is client engagement aligned with the initial plan of action? 63.6, they said sometimes. Rarely is 24%. And only 9%, they said all the time. How familiar are you with the following? I'm going to share that with you. And how ready are you to embark with the journey of AI? It's interesting. It's 72.7%. So congratulations, everyone, and let's do it all together. Thank you.
Thank you.